Okay, we're at Nancy Houston's, and we've been doing a lot of work here, getting some things a little less maintenance. We definitely need to get the grasses and things, fine-tune the edges, and but we've kind of spread rock all along these berms, and we're going to be adding some plants and things in there to soften. Um, But in and throughout here is where we need to maintain and continue to define a nice clean edge, as well as weeding and fine tuning some of the dead, etc. This area is going to be a lot less maintenance, obviously, with the rock. And again, we'll be adding some things over here. But that quince could use a little trim, and the clematis looks amazing. I know we did a number on it last season. Some of the dead out of the roses. This needs to be fixed. We've got some, I think one of the dogs is probably digging. And again, kind of this area, we have a lot of little weeds popping up. But we're just trying to eliminate more maintenance here. Some of the Oregon grape trimmed. This hydrangea can be cut back to the new growth at this point. And the candy tuft is just looking beautiful, but some of these things can be trimmed up a little bit, as you can see. And then this rock will extend all the way to the back here. We've got some weeds popping up there, some little volunteers. These are all weeds that need to come out. We've got a random tulip up there. But all in all, things are looking pretty good. We want to kind of keep the bamboo contained to its area. And like I said, the rock will extend all the way here. We can clean up all that bamboo, all the dead from the winter, and then this beautiful hydrangea could be deadheaded at this point. Back here we have peonies popping up, all this beautiful lamium that's blooming. So these are weeds, these big guys here that are kind of volunteering and coming up, dandelions. We can kind of clean up this area a little bit, trim some of the shrubs, keep it kind of natural looking for sure. This is definitely more of a natural looking yard. We need to try and get after the weeds in the lawn, the dandelions and things. Keeping this area, the ivy, contained where it doesn't block the windows. We're definitely trying to promote this lamium growth, which is doing well. It's come a long ways, but like things like this in the lawn need to be contained, and some of the scrub oak trimmed out of here so the lamium can continue. Down here, any major problem weeds we need to get after so that we don't have issues with birds and things like that. They have dogs. And then we will transplant some of the ferns up to this area over here that I'll show you in a moment, because she loves all these ferns. They're gorgeous. Same thing under here. Just make sure that's all cleaned up nice and neat. And then obviously down here again, just kind of containing all the wild, but we have geraniums growing that are beautiful in bloom, strawberries, sweet William, and lots of scrub oak. But if we can just kind of keep it contained down to that little fence, any of the big gnarly weeds and super obvious suckers, just to keep it under wraps. And then we have this beautiful little clematis that makes sense to probably transplant it back onto this pipe so we can have it kind of climb it and fixate on that. And then along here, just kind of the same stuff, keeping the scrub oak out of the beds. And then in here, this is where we'll kind of transplant some of the ferns. Basically it's peonies and ferns. Everything else in here is a weed right now. So we'll just continue to add some ferns in here. And it looks like all of these are coming back that we transplanted last year, which is great. And then this looks pretty good. Just trim up some of the dead on the lamium down below. And it looks like there's a clematis back here growing, which is super random. So we'll keep an eye on that little guy and make sure it gets some love. Trim out some of this dead in the shrubs and whatnot. and it'll be easy to just kind of blow and keep everything fairly maintained. Cutting out the dead of the dogwoods, obviously, and go from there. It looks like one of the bamboo may have not made it, but the roots should be well alive and hopefully push up new growth. But that's basically it. And then up here we'll definitely cover this area with a bit more rock.